I'm just going to talk to you about low-friction development, and what I mean by low-friction development is I'm going to share some experiences that we've had transitioning our development from LampStack onto all JavaScript end-to-end. I hope it's going to be interesting to you. I hope maybe there'll be something in it for you to take away. So my name is Peter Elger. I'm co-founder of a company called BetaPond, and we do social media applications, branded social media applications, primarily on Facebook. I like simple things. I heard a guy this morning talking about how he likes simple things. I agree. Simple things are great. I've been doing software for a good while now. Initially in very, very kind of low-level C++ stuff in kind of for nuclear fusion research and moving across into other areas, telco as well. Then I got enlightened on JavaScript a couple of years ago that it was in fact this really incredibly powerful language and not the kind of toy language in a browser. I've kind of grown in my appreciation of it and how it can be used to solve problems, and that's culminated in us now moving all the development from our company across from a LampStack onto end-to-end JavaScript. And the approach we've taken to do that is to leverage as much of the existing tools that are available, but build our own very lightweight framework that's specifically tailored for doing social app dev. Just a quick aside, I heard a guy this morning talking about, he was talking about how it's really good to learn lots of languages, and I'd have to agree with that. The structure of the languages that we use affects the way we think, and I think that's particularly true in JavaScript. As you can see, there's a bunch of guys, probably a bit like myself, that have been developing high-performance servers for years, thinking about mutexes, semaphores, blocking, and all that kind of stuff. And then suddenly something comes along that does it differently because it has a different tool set. I think that's a very interesting, and so learning lots of languages is good. So what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk a little bit about the problems that we have. I'm going to talk about the sources of friction that we experienced in our development that gave us to question how we were doing things. I'm going to talk about the range of options that were available to us and then what we did. I'm afraid I don't have too many flashy demos or anything like that, so I hope you're not going to be too disappointed with that. So we need to rapidly develop branded social apps, and by branded social apps, what I mean is some examples here. So this would be an example one for the royal wedding predictor. We can go on and predict the royal wedding, what was going on the day, what dress they'd wear. Or another example would be New Orleans tourist board, where we're giving them a leaderboard of based on check-ins of the top attractions in the town. So it's tying bits of data both from location-based stuff into social media. Now. That means that we have a lot of apps that we need to run. Most of them have a very short lifetime, maybe 2 to 3 months, something like that. They're all pretty much single-page Ajax apps, and we need to run lots of them, lots of little apps. Each one will usually experience a fairly sharp traffic spike depending on the media spend that happens, and then of course on the viral sharing on social networks will give us a spike of traffic that we need to handle as well, and we need to go faster, handle more traffic with less effort. I guess nobody really wants to go slower, and no one really wants to handle less traffic and put more effort, but we particularly feel it because of the nature of the applications that we're developing. So sources of frictions we experienced in developing these types of apps was, as you know, the typical LampStack requires 5 languages. So you've got HTML, CSS, JavaScript, SQL, and whatever your server language of choice is. And I've heard those described as being, well, you know, SQL is like a box, and maybe your mid-tier language is a triangle, and your JavaScript, your browser is a circle, and they just don't really fit together. They don't tessellate. They don't fit. And so there's definitely a mental disjoint that occurs when you're moving across tiers, building applications, and that can slow you down. And that, in my experience, causes teams to break down into front-end, back-end specialists along those language lines, and that causes friction in development as well, because what it means is that your front-end guys are often waiting for mid-tier or database guys to do stuff. They don't speak the same languages. I'm waiting for you to finish, or for you, and that causes blockages. Of course, relational databases, whilst they're great in a lot of areas, they're not a fit for what we're trying to do, and they introduce the burden of schema maintenance and management. We also find that server templating gets in the way of designer styling. I'm sure everyone here has experienced that problem. So we became aware of the whole new range of technology that's out there based on JavaScript. So NoSQL stores, obviously Node.js, and all of the associated modules, client libraries and the frameworks that are available. There's a huge range of them out there now. Templating engines and managed cloud hosting. There's a whole bunch to choose from. Excuse me. And some of them worked and fitted with what we wanted to do, and some of them didn't fit exactly right. So we took the approach of we want to keep things really, really simple. I like simple. I like to build things really simply because I find that that's the way that you're going to get stuff done over the long term. We definitely didn't want any server templating because we needed to get styling done quickly and not get in the way of that. We wanted a model where we pulled pages together on the client, and having looked at the sources of friction that we were experiencing, we felt that doing end-to-end JavaScript would be an approach that would work for us. So in order to do that, we put together a very light, lean framework based on top of Node and jQuery on the front end. So what we built out was on the server, on top of Node.js, a very thin NoSQL driver layer, a very lightweight controller and model structure, a simple and consistent file system layout for the applications, controllers responding with JSON data review references, and all of our static assets, everything static, so all of the views to be served down statically, no server-side templating. And on the client, very lightweight controllers binding to the DOM, models connecting to back-end logic, lazy loaded views, and we're not mandating any particular widgeting framework. So let me just give you a quick view of that. That's a very, very simple architecture. I think it was the very simple architecture outlined this morning. Simple is good. The request response cycle we put together is very, very simple. We just do a get or a post in for data. The server then is going to return us data in one stream and the view as a static asset to be rendered on the client. So what we're doing is we're pushing a lot of that rendering off client side. So we've reflected that in the structure of the application layout. We've got, in this breakdown here at the top level, we've got controllers and models that run server side. And then under public, we've got controllers and models that run client side. So they're different beasts. On the one side, you're controlling and binding into the DOM, sending requests up. Server side, you're then forwarding on connections into a NoSQL store and then data being sent back down with static views that are rendered on the client. And then, of course, acceptance and unit testing baked in as well. We have a very, very simple configuration structure. We would have a global config just pointing to where all the applications live. And then for each application, we would configure a name and then any other specific social stuff that we need to plug in there. So we have particular modules and stuff for OAuth and so on with Facebook that we need to use. We found this has really been helpful to us. It's reduced the number of languages that our guys need to write in down to 3 languages, so it's JavaScript end-to-end. The whole schema-free picture has helped us a lot. It means that we're not maintaining models. We can go a lot faster. and we can do the design a lot quicker when it's template free. And early results are that we're getting, obviously it's performing very, very quickly for us. We can develop the applications a lot quicker. We're avoiding all of the mental context switching, and we're getting a lower operational cost because we are not having to run so many server instances. Okay, that's it. I think I've kind of caught up on the time. I hope that was kind of useful. We think the JavaScript stack is early stage, obviously, but we think it can become the universal language for application development, both client and server side. And I have to say I'm learning an awful lot here. So thanks very much for your time, and any questions? Sure.
Have you released any of this open source?
We haven't released it open source yet because we've got some. There are some bits of it that are proprietary that we need to take out. But we're going to be open sourcing it. Hopefully, if not next week, the week after, we're looking to put it out. Sure.
You said you're dynamically loading some of the content in or some of the widgets in later. How do you handle that without it looking sort of, clunky?
It can sometimes look a bit clunky, but if you're rendering within Facebook, most of the loading is clunky anyway, right? So the outside frame is loading clunkily, right? So it doesn't really matter too much. People are fairly understanding about it in that context. I think in different contexts it might not be quite the same. But view rendering is pretty quick these days anyway, right? That's sure. Okay. Thanks very much for your time, guys. Appreciate it.